Have you ever seen this smoke on Pearl and wondered what the hell is that even for? Well, if you're not using it in your own games, then you are trolling. Stop losing RR because you don't know how to play Pearl. Next 11 minutes and 33 seconds, I will show you everything you need to know to attack Pearl like a pro and get the rank that you've been dreaming of, you little gremlin. We'll cover the best agents, util usage, pathing, and look at why G2 has been dominating this map. I also have a free Premier Playbook for G2's Chamber Vice comp that they used to become
America's Kickoff champions,
which can help you not only level up your Premier games, but also your ranked games as well. This is your ultimate guide to attacking on Pearl. Attacking on Pearl can feel like a nightmare, but once you've watched this video, you'll understand all the tricks you need to win your games on Pearl. Firstly, let's look at the map. Pearl has 4 lanes: A main, Art, B link, known as Street, and B long. Art and Street also have the unique characteristic of being connected not only to mid, but also through the aptly named connector. Pearl is a map that rewards taking rounds just a little bit slower, and you'll see why as the video goes on. Let's start with A side and talk about A main. Attackers and defenders both have good reason to fight for this space. One, because it's a fairly 50-50 orb, so investing util into A main not only helps you take the space, it helps you get your ults earlier than your opponents. So initiators, I'm looking at you. Whether it's a stun, recon, haunt, knife, flash, whatever util you have cheap access to basically to force defenders to back out of the space. But Chef, if we use a bunch of util in A main, how are we going to take site? Well, little Timmy, remember when I said taking the round slower could be beneficial? Well, I wasn't lying. While the main pack is taking A main, it's crucial to have someone watching mid and containing the other side of the map. This is most likely going to be a sentinel player. We don't want any overzealous defenders fast flanking us through mid or getting up to wine and closely listening for a herd of fucking elephants rotating through to B because you got hard locked by the A defense counter aggroing A main and shitting on you because there's 5 smurfs and it's definitely not you lacking self-accountability. Did you do your aim training today, little Timmy? That's what I thought. Just to highlight this point, you can see G2 pivoting towards B in this round, and Zelsis on Vice hears Valen make a footstep, and instantly Sentinels start rotating towards B. Where were we? A main. Highly contested spot you'll often see fighting here, and the fight can dictate the whole round. If you don't invest util, you're just begging to get your head taken off by a chamber or flushed by a phoenix. And I don't care who you are, 10s ain't turning that. If you do invest util, it could be a 50-50 if the defenders also invest util, but if they don't, the odds are in your favor. But let's say you have the perfect start and defense gives you A main for free. You decide, let's send it A. Well, you still might have a really hard time. Shit, they could be anywhere. Can you count all the angles we have to clear?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
And not only that, unless you're running Brimstone or Harbor, you can't smoke off every lane into sight. And let's be honest, are you really playing Harbor in ranked? Maybe if you're in a 5-stack or you're playing Premier. But if you're playing Premier, then you may as well check out my new Premier Playbook for Pearl based on the G2 comp. Speaking of G2, let's look at how they approach A main control and A execs. This is round 4 versus Lev in the upper semi-final. They start with A main control while Chamber and Vice look towards mid. Best recon, flash, 2 stars, and a Razor Vines to take control of A main. Dover then also throws a shock dart. But as soon as they have control of A main, they cut noise because A main control was only stage 1 of their plan. Plan 2 is to re-clear mid, take art control, and then push onto A. And remember when I said it's important to make sure you're holding the other parts of the map? Here, Lev even go to the trouble of smoking off this chamber trip to initiate a flank, but Leaf hears the smoke and is ready for it. Now G2 can begin phase 2. They drone into art and find that it's clear. An A split looks like it's on. And it's important to note that G2 inserted Valen in A main at the start of the round. Because although going through art makes entering A site a lot easier, it's only if you have A main control as well. If you don't have A main control, defenders can push into A main and create a crossfire with flowers and backside as you try and enter from art. Just like King does essentially by playing in this smoke. Valen would be there to crunch through the smoke. Required this round because Georgimo manages to get this trade. By electing to split A rather than going full A or full art, you're making your life a lot easier and removing a lot of options from defenders. The lanes are practically kissing and you even have this window to throw projectiles through. Yeah, and this wall is bangable for some reason as well. Do be careful when taking art though. The first stage is quite favored for attackers because you've got this vertical double swing. This box is spammable. Close right is one and done. But once you try to push past con, you have to worry about timings from con, defenders on site, getting kind of pinched. It's really quite dangerous. Once you push a site, make sure you clear the whole site before planting, especially dugout. You don't want to get spammed whilst planting. And here's all the util you need to hit site. Smoke flowers and secret, or flowers and backside. Recon for dugout. If you've already used recon, make sure you drone. Use a molly or some form of ground denial for backside, then flash and dash onto site. It's that simple. If dugout is clear, this is the safest plant. If you have art control, you either want to plant church or without any more of that secret plant tech. I got you. Plant in front of the vending machine. Line up with the cans displayed at the bottom and then turn out towards art when you plant. Now, when you wrap through sewers, or if you have a lurker that's all the way in their spawn, you can see if spike is being diffused or not from flowers. In the post plant, you decide you might want to get a bit aggro if you have the space or need to make a play, and a great spot to go for that aggression is secret. Otherwise, for a standard post plant, you want to have at least one player playing on site in default, perhaps another in church, with the rest playing in art and main to support them. Yoru is excellent here because it can play on site for one and then crash out. No, not like that. It's okay. Don't crash out. Don't lose your mental. It's all going to be fine. You can gate crash out and play off site once he's played for one or delayed enough on site. Okay, now you know how to attack a site. Let's talk about the better site to hit. B site. The first obstacle you need to deal with, get it? Obstacle is this long sight line. As attackers, you'll arrive to this corner before the defenders, if they even decide to run up. But defenders have the advantage of being on this angle pre-barrier. To avoid getting clipped by a chamber or jet one trick, you need to force them to worry about more than just the one angle. The cheapest way to do this is a dissipate. Astra can do this for the low price of free. Terms and conditions apply. Astra stars have a 25-second cooldown. Some other alternatives are Jet's Cloudburst, and if you have a Yoru or Omen, they can both TP across to console to break this line. If you don't have any of those tools, then you absolutely must have a drone. If you don't, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between Chamber and Old McDonald.
They're the same picture.
Yeah, sure. Why don't I just flash? Little Timmy. Flash isn't super effective here. It's really easy to just tuck and re-peek with the op. However, you can scale out with Dizzy or Leah. However, the disadvantage is that they can be shot out of the air, so take caution. A solo operator will be forced off the line, but if they have support, then your Leah or Dizzy just becomes much less effective. Lastly, if you somehow don't have any of that, a dart or knife can clear pillar, but it can't catch everything from sight at the same time. But you can isolate pillar by smoking yourself off from sight and clearing that area and creating pressure. You could be walking up behind that smoke. Are we just farming the orb, creating fake pressure, or do we want to hit B? Because once you're at B site, it's a long way back to safety and an even longer way back to A, especially when defenders might have already started flanking through A main. Again, if you're playing Sentinel on this map, it's so important that you hold the space around the map so you give your team cancel options. And here's your util for a B site exec, using shock or whatever you can to destroy any trips, smoking heaven and hell, creating a one way for hell, any ground denial for the B link entry, and dart or recon to clear sight and screens. Your duelist is going to dive in towards halls. Specifically for the G2 comp, you can have two variations where you dart for screens, or you can dart for halls and Yoru can TP into halls. Try and avoid planting here if you can. While it is the safest, it severely limits how you can play the post plant.
Spike planted.
Utilizing characters with walls can help you get the plant down safe. Viper, Sage, and Astra with her ultimate are great choices here. Post plant. Back in my day, everyone could just run all the way back out and be long and spam the plant with pings. We even had a whole extra mag of ammo. Okay, Grandpa, back to the nursing home. Nowadays, it's still strong to play up B long, but we have to play on site a bit more to stall the defender's retake and force them to use more util. We can't let them have site for free and just smoke and stick the defuse. Now, the dilemma is B site isn't actually that easy to hold. Look at where we can possibly play. The only real site option that we have as attackers is to lock down halls. And again, Yoru is insane here because he can still TP out if things get dicey. The only other positions that you can play is playing around troll and playing around the safe plant box. Both of which, ain't great. So the best options either look like fighting into the defenders. If you have a late lurk through mid, you can crunch street by pushing Bell. If you have good timing, you can look for a pick in Harry Potter. When numbers or time is low, then you can look to fall back up long. You'll want at least one player there anyway to watch flank and to play for that time win condition. If you have anyone with defuse, denial, utility, they should be your #1 ticket holder for watching all the shit go down on site while saying, "Don't worry guys, I have mollies." I think it was meant to be a jump throw.
Bomb grenade out.
You can also split B, but street is a very defender-sided part of the map. It's a long, narrow corridor with multiple places for defenders to play, and by taking it, you're rewarded with an entry onto site that is just at the front of site. No deeper entry. And this choke point is tiny, and I have to worry about verticality. Nah, this is bullshit. Even getting into B-Link is a nightmare. Like, look at mid doors. Mid control, however, is useful because you can quickly pivot into street and art, creating movement and question marks for the defenders. You also don't have to commit all the way down street. You can smoke off APOC and then push into connector, where you can then use connector to go art, and defense now has to respect sewers. Pearl's a very connected map, and the rotates around the edges of the map are quite long, so it's natural for players to want to use the mid areas to rotate quickly between sites. You can have a lot of impact on the game by controlling this area, either by shutting down anyone trying to go through there, or to find those gaps for yourself, like I mentioned earlier in the video, crunching street for the B post plant or wrapping through sewers for the A post plant. A good sentinel will know when to take a risk and when it's important to stay alive and just hold space. A good rule of thumb is to only move when your team is making noise. And that's it. Good luck for your games. Let me know how you go, and remember, the Premier Playbook is in the Discord. Thanks so much. Have a good one. Bye.